Good morning, students, teachers, and veterans. Welcome to the Flinthills Veterans Day Assembly, where we make a humble attempt to thank our local veterans. In 1783, the first American regiment was brought into existence, a volunteer group of farmers, storekeepers, and carpenters, assembled to become our nation's first brave regiment. In the 234 years since then, our forces have grown into the most prestigious unit in the world. Today, we set aside our usual activities to congratulate those who made it so prestigious and have risked everything for the country they love. We thank you, veterans.
Tomorrow things were gone, work for all my life, and I had to start again, just my children and my wife. Thank my lucky stars to be living here with me, because the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. Be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA, there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say, there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand next to you.
Please rise, remove all headgear, and join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for the singing of our national anthem by Haley Wright and Sarah Hennon.
Stripes and bright stars
may be seated.
Our veterans represent the very best of America. They have bravely answered the call to serve in the finest military force in the world, and they have earned the dignity that comes with wearing the uniform and defending our great flag. On Veterans Day, we honor all veterans who have served in the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and Coast Guard, both in times of war and peace. For nearly 100 years since the end of World War I, Veterans Day has given us a time to pay due respect to our veterans, who have passed the torch of liberty from one generation to the next. With respect for and in recognition of these contributions our service members have made to the cause of peace and freedom around the world, the Congress has provided that November 11th of each year be set aside as a legal public holiday to honor our nation's veterans. As Commander-in-Chief of our heroic armed forces, I humbly thank our veterans and our families and their families as we remember and honor their service and their sacrifice. Now, therefore, I, Donald J. Trump, President of the United States, do hereby proclaim November 11th, 2017 as Veterans Day. I encourage all Americans to recognize the fortitude and sacrifice of our veterans through public ceremonies and private thoughts and prayers. I call on federal and state and local officials to display the flag of the United States and to participate in patriotic activities in their communities. I call on all Americans, including civic and fraternal organizations, places of worship, schools, and communities, to support this day with commemorative expressions and programs.
Each year, our middle school students have the opportunity to participate in the Elks Essay Contest. The students submit an essay to the County Elks Committee, and they pick winners to move on to the state contest. This year, the topic was why our veterans are America's heroes. Flinthills is proud to let you know that 2 of our students placed first and second in the County Elks Essay Contest. Please welcome Jared Stopchinsky and Amanda Brown. Jared placed second in the contest, and Amanda placed first.
Service is the bottom line to happiness and fulfillment. This was a quote from Colonel Gail Haverson, retired, also known as the Candy Bomber. He is just one example of America's heroes, but he was not just saving America, he was saving another country as well, and many soldiers do this. I guess you could call our heroes the world's saviors, and that takes some serious service. I guess it gives them happiness and fulfillment to the breaking point. Almost. Who are some heroes you think of who show sacrifice? Perhaps it is Brendan Meadows, who at 26 lost all 4 limbs in Iraq in April of 2009, or Arthur T. Balthazar, who suffers from PTSD from war, or maybe William E. Adams, who sacrificed his life for his country. All 3 of these heroes have sacrificed immensely, as is true for every veteran. I remember when my dad was in the military and the sacrifices he had to make. When he was in officer school, he only got to see us once a week for 3 hours at church. When he went to Arizona for 3 months, we did not see him at all. That was really frightening because an illegal alien could have shot or injured him while he was paving a road for the Border Patrol. While he was away for almost a month at Sapper School, he hurt his calf really bad, and it still hurts to this day. So, one way veterans are America's heroes is that they and their families sacrifice a lot. Another quality our heroes show is that they are protective of our country, other countries, and each other. Jack Lucas, who at 14 lied his way into the military during World War II, was fighting at Iwo Jima and saved 3 squad members from 2 grenades with his body. One went off and shrapnel went into his body, nearly killing him. Another quality that makes them our heroes is they are really helpful. I remember when I went to school at Fort Benning, Georgia, and once in a while, a group of soldiers came to the school and helped children with their schoolwork. This may seem insignificant, but to those kids, it was incredible to have a soldier help them, and it really benefited them. They got their work done quicker. Thanks to our veterans for their service and having qualities such as the ability to sacrifice, being protective, and just being helpful to those who need it, veterans are America's heroes. Thank you.
Zell Miller once said, "Never in the history of the world has any soldier sacrificed more for the freedom and liberty of a total stranger than the American soldier." This quote is so true because soldiers are fighting for millions of strangers and they sacrifice their lives for our freedom and liberty. Soldiers have to be caring, willing, hardworking, brave, and they can't be a quitter. My great uncle was in World War II. He is one of my many heroes. He fought for me and every other person in the USA. For him to leave his family and fight, he had to be brave. And that's the same for every other soldier. Some soldiers leave but never fight. Even though they don't see action, they're still making a big sacrifice. They're making a sacrifice by leaving their family and not knowing what will happen. Many people go to war knowing they might not come back or they might not walk again. Many soldiers come home but not for several years. Soldiers also go to war with their best friend by their side, knowing they or their friend might not survive. Also, soldiers know once you're there, you can't quit. Only 2 defining sources have ever offered to die for you: Jesus Christ and the American soldier. One died for your soul, the other died for your freedom. We may not know who said this, but it is true. Now I have a challenge for you. The next time you see a soldier or a veteran, say thank you. It might make their day.
Andrea Brett wrote this poem to pay tribute to those who have sacrificed and to honor the veterans for the service they have performed. The individual efforts of our veterans have combined into a mighty force for freedom. Here is I Am a Veteran.
I am a veteran. You may not know me the first time we meet. I'm just another you see on the street. But I am the reason you walk and breathe free. I am the reason for your liberty. I am a veteran. I work in the local factory all day. I own the restaurant just down the way. I sell your insurance. I start your IV. I've got the best looking grandkids you'll ever see. I'm your grocer, your banker, your child's school teacher. I'm your plumber, your barber, your family's preacher. But there's a part of me you don't know very well. Just listen a moment. I have a story to tell. I am a veteran. I joined the service while still in my teens. I traded my prom dress for camouflage greens. I'm the first in my family to do something like this. I followed my father like he followed his, defying my fears and hiding my doubt. I married my sweetheart before I shipped out. I missed Christmas, then Easter, the birth of my son, but I knew I was doing what had to be done. I served on the battlefront. I served on the base. I bound up the wounded and begged for God's grace. I ordered to fire, I followed commands. I marched into conflict in far distant lands. In the jungle, the desert, on mountains and shores, in bunkers and tents and dank earthen floors. While I fought on the ground, in the air and the sea, my family and friends were home praying for me. For the land of the free and the home of the brave, I faced my demons in foxholes and caves. Then one dreaded day, without drummer or fife, I lost an arm, my buddy lost his life. I came home and moved on, but forever was changed. The pearls of war in my memory remain. I don't really say much, I don't feel like I can. But I left home a child and came home a man. There are thousands like me, thousands more who are gone, but their legacy lives as time marches on. White crosses in rows and names carved in queue. Remind us of what these brave souls had to do. I'm part of a fellowship, a strong, mighty band, of each man and each woman who has served this great land. And when Old Glory waves, I stand proud, I stand tall. I am helped keep her flying over you, over all. I am a veteran.
Located along the Potomac River, Washington, D.C. is a district and not a state. It was established by the Constitution in 1791. The city was designed by Pierre Charles L'Enfant, with grand boulevards and magnificent ceremonial spaces designed on a grid with all points leading to the Capitol building. Washington, D.C. is now home to the Smithsonian Museums, which includes 17 museums, galleries, and the National Zoo, the U.S. Botanical Garden, the Holocaust Memorial Museum, and the U.S. Navy Memorial, all call Washington, D.C. home. Additionally, the National Mall is there as well. At one end of the mall, you will see the Washington Monument, which is opposite the Lincoln Memorial at the other end of the mall. The monuments and memorials in between are, at most, breathtaking, and at very least, an everlasting tribute to those who have helped to shape a ragged bunch of individuals into a country it is today. There are over 65 memorials in the National Mall. Our students get the opportunity to visit these memorials every few years. Join us as we visit the national memorials that honor our veterans as seen through the Flinthills camera lenses.
Looks like I only got a one way to get away. Sure wish I could give you one more kiss. War was just a game we played when we were kids. But I'm laying down my gun, hanging up my boots. I'm up here with God and we're both watching over you. So lay me down in that open field out on the edge of town. And oh my soul, it's where my mama always prayed that it would go. If you're weakness, I'm already home. If you're weakness, halfway around the world, I won't be there to see the birth of our little girl. I hope she looks like you. I hope she fights like me. Stands up for the innocent and the weak. I'm laying down my gun, hanging up my boots. Till then I don't regret that I followed in his shoes. So lay me down in that open field out on this town. And oh
have given a tremendous amount of sacrifice for each of us. In her poem, Veteran, Lynn Carey puts to words what veterans need us to remember. The poem Veteran by Lynn Carey.
I was a proud veteran that served my country well. To those who would listen, I had many stories to tell. We fought for America's freedom in faraway places on foreign land. Wherever the battle for democracy reigned, America's finest made a stand. We fought for your future and the right to remain free, and we saw what freedom meant to those not blessed with liberty. For you and yours, we would gladly have given our life. We faced the fears and perils of battle. We braved endless turmoil and strife. Please remember us veterans and the sacrifices we made for you. Please share the blessings of freedom. Proudly wave the red, white, and blue.
A. Lawrence Vaincourt wrote his poem, Just a Common Soldier, in 1987 because he felt that veterans were being forgotten. The veterans would come back from war and carry on with their lives without recognition. He was a World War II veteran and photographer and felt that the veteran needed recognized. Here is Just a Common Soldier.
He was getting old and paunchy, and his hair was falling fast, and he sat around the Legion telling stories of the past, of a war that he had fought in and the deeds that he had done. And his exploits with his buddies, they were heroes every one, and though sometimes to his neighbors his tales became a joke, all his Legion buddies listened, for they knew whereof he spoke. But we'll hear his tales no longer, for old Bill has passed away, and the world's a little poorer, for a soldier died today. He will not be mourned by many, just his children and his wife, for he lived an ordinary and quite uneventful life. Held a job and raised a family, quietly going his own way, and the world won't note his passing, though a soldier died today. When politicians leave this earth, their bodies lie in state, while thousands note their passing and proclaim that they were great. Papers tell their whole life stories from the time that they were young, but the passing of a soldier goes unnoticed and unsung. Is the greatest contribution to the welfare of our land a guy who breaks his promises and cons his fellow man? Or the ordinary fellow who in times of war and strife goes off to serve his country and offers up his life? A politician's stipend and the style in which he lives are sometimes disproportionate to the service that he gives, while the ordinary soldier who offered up his all is paid off with a medal and perhaps a pension small. It's so easy to forget, for it was so long ago, that old bills for our country went to battle, but we know. It is not the politicians with their compromising ploys who want us the freedom that our country now enjoys. Should you find yourself in danger with your enemies at hand, would you want a politician with his ever-shifting hand? Would you prefer a soldier who has sworn to defend his home, his kin and country, and would fight until the end? He was just a common soldier, and his ranks are growing thin, but his presence should remind us that we may need his like again. For when countries are in conflict, then we find the soldier's part is to clean up all the troubles that the politicians start. If we cannot do him honor while he is here to hear the praise, then at least let's give him homage at the ending of his days. Perhaps just a simple headline in the paper would say, "Our country is mourning, for a soldier died today."
In 1776, our founding fathers set forth to sever their ties with Britain. This marked an exact point in our history as a country. Our ancestors chose to create an independent country defined by certain standards including life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Today we define ourselves just the same. We are Americans. Many brave Americans have committed to defend the very liberties that previous generations have sought to provide.
Because of your great service to our country, the Flinthills High School Choir would like to offer their tribute to our true American idols. Veterans and current members of our armed forces, as your branch of the armed forces is called, please step toward the front of the auditorium. Students and guests, we ask that you please remain seated until our tribute is complete.
Army. Navy. Coast Guard. Air Force. Marines. We would like to honor those servicemen and women who are here with us today. Please take a step forward as your name is read. Ron Alvord. Gerald Bodorf. James Browning. Steve Cope. Bill Court. Charles Flores. Merrill Green. James Heimgartner. Tom Hinton. Russell Jessup. Dakota Jones. Harold Juby. Daryl Lowmaster. Richard Markham. Herschel McCoy. Dave McCoy. Chet McCoy. Charles Malugin. Herb Miller. Sonny Mosier. Philip Schneider. Gary Sawyer. Arnell Thomas. Bill Weary. Rome Holcomb. Jeff Pinton. And Mario Triano. Did I miss anybody? Did I get y'all?
Aaron Humig.
Is he here?
Yes.
You didn't sign in. Aaron Humig. To our men and women in uniform, past, present, and future, God bless you and thank you. You may be seated.
Today, let us not forget those who have followed in the footsteps of these veterans. Let us remember our thousands of troops who are currently serving our country at home and abroad. We are proud to have the following graduates from Flinthills still serving our country. In the Army, Jacob Kepler and Jared McClure. In the Navy, Shannon Forbes, Megan Stanhope, Brett Brundage. Coast Guard, Evie Taylor Lynn. Air Force, Isaiah Smith, Dakota Jones. Marines, Jimmy Osborne. Kansas Air National Guard, Jerry Swift, William Stacy, Dalton Purdy, Bobby Phillips. Army Reserve, Kenneth Jarrett. And the Air Force Reserves, Aaron Humig.
We have been gathering photos of our local veterans.
All we've been given by those who came before. The dream of a nation where freedom would endure. The working prayers of centuries brought us to this day. What shall be our legacy? What will our children say? Let them say of me, I was one who believed in sharing the blessings I received. Let me know in my heart the days are through. America, America, I gave my best to you. Each generation from the plains to distant shore, with the gifts they were given, were determined to leave more. Battles fought together, acts of conscience fought alone. These are the seeds from which America has grown. Let them say of me, I was one who believed in sharing blessings that I received. Let me know in my heart when my days are through. America, America, I gave my best to you. For those who think they have nothing to share, who feel in their hearts there is no hero there, no each quiet dignity is that which fortifies the soul of a nation. I was one
America, I gave my best to you. America, I gave my best to you.
A new man called Sandy came. Few folks even knew his name. But a hero, yes, was he. Left boy, come back man. Still many just don't understand about the reasons we are free. I can't forget the look in his eyes, or the tears he cried, as he said these words to me. All gave some gave all. Some stood through for the red, white, and blue, and some had to fall. If you ever think of me, think of all your liberties and recall. Some gave all. Sandy Kane is no longer here, but his words are oh so clear. They echo throughout our land. For all his friends gave us all, stood the ground and took the fall to help their fellow man. Love your country and live with pride, and don't forget those who died. America, can't you see? All gave some gave all. Some stood through for the red, white, and blue, and some had to fall. And if you ever think of me, think of all your liberties and recall. Some gave all. And if you ever think of me, think of all your liberties and recall. Yes, recall. Some gave all. Some gave all.
has many names: Armistice Day, Remembrance Day, and the Day of Peace. Veterans Day was even a celebration of the silencing of the cannons during World War I, and is now a day when nations around the world pause in a moment of gentle silence. In this silence, we must remember that the solemn pride, the heroism of those who have served.
We also must remember and honor those who have laid down their lives in freedom's defense. These brave men and women have made the ultimate sacrifice a human being can make for our own benefit. Around the world today, people are offering a moment of silence to honor all the moments, the days and the years that our veterans have served and sacrificed for America's freedom. Please join me today as we also share a moment of silence in remembrance. We especially would like to mention those from our community who have passed in the years since we met last November. Mandy Garcia and Bob Ward. Thank you.
Thank you all once again for being here to celebrate with our veterans. While it is important and proper that we mark this day with humble silence, it is also important that we spend all our days rejoicing in their service and reminding ourselves that because of our veterans, our country still stands, our founding principles still shine, and nations around the world that once knew nothing but fear now know the blessing of true freedom. To you, our veterans, we simply thank you. Students, I would also like to challenge you today. Find a veteran and simply tell them thank you. It just might make their day.
Quietly, you've all turned gray. You did your job, you saved our way. Our life and freedom you preserved. We flanked you less than you deserved. You never boasted, bragged, or asked for adulation for your past. You did the job you knew was right, and quietly you cried at night. For bodies maimed and comrades lost, for sights beyond our farthest thoughts, for what you've lived and felt and seen, for what the cost of freedom means. You leave us blessed with every breath that cost your arms and legs and death. You won the worst and greatest war. We owe you more, we owe you more. Thank you for your wondrous feats, for open speech and quiet streets, for worship as we choose to pray, and preservation for our way. Before you go, we need to show that in your silence we still know what you accomplished and what you did, for who we are and how we live. So go with love from wives and sons, and daughters for a job well done. From kids who've never seen a tank, we give you thanks, we give you thanks. Thank you for your wondrous feats, for open speech and quiet streets, for worship as we choose to pray, and preservation for our way. For homes and jobs and baseball games, for many colors, many names. You saved our lives and we're so free, from shining sheet to shining sea. Thank you. Go in peace.
Thank you all for coming today. Students, please wait until all of our veterans and their guests have left the auditorium. You may visit them briefly out in the commons. Thanks again for coming.